Hey nerds, and welcome to Supergirl, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This week on Supergirl, we had a really great episode with a classic Superman character, Mr Mxyzptlk, or however you pronounce his name, Mixie, as he was calling himself and as Supergirl was calling him. It was a really fun episode. A lot of really cool things happened, but there were some really small hints to things at the wider universe, and something I will address at the very end is just where I think this is all headed and the bigger picture that we've been learning about. So first, Mxyzptlk, he was exactly as you expected him. He didn't have the same impish look that he has in the comics and things like that, but that's fine. It translated better this way. The actor was playing him, did a fantastic job. And even how Kara tricked him at the end is very reminiscent of a way that we saw Superman defeat him in the Bruce Timm Superman animated series. That series when they brought in Mxyzptlk into there. So that was great. And another thing that's very Mxyzptlk is the McGurk. He called Mon-El McGurk-El, and McGurk is one of the nicknames that he had for Superman. Also other characters. He's often wandering around Earth and Metropolis, saying, "Where's McGurk?" He's looking for this McGurk character. In that Superman animated episode I'm referring to, he finds who he says is McGurk, and it's a statue in the museum that he brings to life. So that was pretty neat. Next, the Blight. The Blight. Now, the Blight, if you missed the reference in the episode, it was when Lyra was talking about her home of Starhaven and how basically it's a dead planet now. The Blight, they originally are from the Legion of Superheroes comic, and they were a kind of essentially techno-organic zombies. They're from the 30th century, so they don't have too much to do with the current timeline, although they did make an appearance in Justice League Dark, Evil Reigns, I believe that was the name of the storyline, and specifically it was a storyline about the Blight. This featured Constantine and Swamp Thing and Zatanna, and the characters that you actually see that were in the Justice League Dark animated film that just came out. So that's the Blight. Now, what is their connection to everything? I think it was just a convenient way to explain what happened to Lyra's home. Now, Lyra's home, Lyra and Starhaven. Lyra in the comics, the only Lyra I could find is actually not from Starhaven. She's actually Kryptonian, and we'll get to her in a second. But Starhaven was a planet that was actually forcibly settled by a tribe of Native Americans from Earth. They were taken from Earth, and they were forced to go through an evolution of their metagene, and they all developed wings. There was one character in particular, Dawnstar, who was the most famous. She worked with the Legion of Superheroes for a while. But the reason I'm assuming they didn't keep the look of the Starhaven people the same is because, for all intents and purposes, they look like Thanagarians. They've got the wings, they fly. There would be no telling them apart from Thanagarians, and I think they wanted to avoid that in this show. They didn't want any confusion with her. Plus, the wings would have been hard to hide in public. So that's what's going on there. Now, Lyra. Lyra, like I said, is actually Kryptonian in the comics. She's the assistant of Kara's mother. Not on the original Krypton, actually on New Krypton. She died when a sniper who was trying to take out Kara's mom shot her, or was shooting at her, but Lyra got in the way and got shot instead. So she's not a big character from the comics, but it's a name that actually has some strong connections to the what I believe is the end game, not for season 2 necessarily, but hopefully it'll be the overall story arc for season 3, and that is New Krypton. Now, I've talked about New Krypton before, but if you haven't seen those past episodes, or you're not familiar with it, or just don't remember, New Krypton was a storyline where the Bottle City of Kandor, which had been residing in the Fortress of Solitude for a long time, went out and was essentially restored to its actual size and was flying away in space. And the Kryptonians on the planet basically grew a planet underneath the city of Kandor. They put this planet in an opposite orbit of the Earth around the sun, so they would never see each other. That's the gist of how the planet came to be. Why do I think this is where the show is going? Well, there's so many characters involved in that storyline, and remarkably, most of them have shown up on the show, especially all the ones that played key roles in the show. The list is big, but here are some of the most notable ones that are included. Lyra, who we mentioned, Metallo, Reactron, if you remember him, Brainiac, we've had Indigo, so she is a Brainiac, Guardian, General Lane, Lucy Lane, she was in the character of Superwoman, Lex Luthor, but his mom could fill that role in this regard, Allura and Zor-El, that's Kara's parents, Superman, obviously we've seen him, and then Kandor and the Fortress of Solitude. Kandor has been mentioned, and we know we've spent a lot of time at the Fortress of Solitude. So all of these things are key to the story in the new Krypton storyline. I think this is where the show is building. They've been laying the groundwork for this to happen. We know we've got some rogue Kryptonians out there. They could be working on this right now. Maybe they have Kandor somewhere else. Maybe they got it out of the Fortress of Solitude already. It's hard to say, but it would be too much of a coincidence for them to be bringing in characters, especially characters like Reactron. He's a really obscure character to most people if they weren't planning to do something like this. Now, I mentioned Kara's parents, and yes, the theory is they died, but I don't think we actually know for sure that her mom specifically, because her mom was key and was essentially the ruler of New Krypton. We don't know for sure that she was on the planet when it was blown up. I don't think everyone is assuming she's dead, but who's to say that she didn't, send herself to the Phantom Zone or something to escape the destruction of Krypton. So that's where I think this is headed. What did you guys think of the episode? Did you like it? Do you think this is where they're headed, or do you think they're just pulling characters that would be interesting for storytelling? I thought it was a great episode, and I can't wait to see what's going on, but my money is still on this new Krypton storyline being the big bulk of Season 3. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to check out my other shows. We have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies and Flash Theories and Conspiracies. So until next week, I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this has been Supergirl Theories and Conspiracies.